everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Prepping by Faith, and I know it has been a while since I've recorded a video again. As many of you know, I am in the middle of a move. We just recently listed our house on Thursday, so I would really greatly appreciate your prayers that it sells quickly. We are believing that direction. We're believing for, a good solid offer so that we can get moved out of here and headed off to South Dakota. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, this is going to be part one of my series on moving as a prepper. And as many of you know, it is a lot more challenging when you are moving a ton of items versus just a regular move. So there is going to be a huge difference between moving just a few preps versus moving a year or more's worth of preps. So what I want to do is kind of get us focused on what we should prioritize first and kind of talk about some of the different things that I've worked through. Now, as many of you know, it's not cheap to move stuff. So the more stuff that you have, then the more it's going to cost you to move those items. So you really need to be thinking about what you want to prioritize, what is most important to take with you, and what items are going to be cheaper to go ahead and replace rather than paying to transport them all the way out of state to your new location. So one of the things that I did first and foremost is kind of walk through my house, go through all of my rooms, go through my closets, really get into my cabinets and my cupboards, and be honest with myself about what things I thought were going to be cheaper to replace than others. So as far as food items go, the items that I focused on keeping were things like my freeze-dried food, because that stuff is going to be more expensive to replace. Things like my pasta that weren't going to weigh as much. As far as canned goods goes, I only focused on my Keystone meats because those have a very long shelf life, and also because they are going to be extremely expensive to replace. So I wanted to prioritize those sorts of items and take with me. As far as, household things, I'm not bringing a lot of cleaners and stuff with me, because one of the things that you also have to be aware of is what items are not allowed to be transported with you. If you are renting a U-Haul even, there are certain items that they don't want in there. Now, obviously, that's up to you whether or not you want to take the chance and put those items in there that they tell you not to bring. But I would use a lot of caution, and I would really weigh the pros and cons of doing something like that. Now, in our particular situation where we are moving out of state, we don't have a location to go to. We're probably going to do something like an Airbnb for a month while we look for a home to purchase. So our stuff has to go into storage. Now, if we went to use a moving company, they have a lot of restrictions as well. And you also have to be aware of the fact that when you're using a moving company, some of those items that they put on there that they don't want you to bring are items that could easily be thieved by, employees that are moving you. And they are upfront about that now. They don't offer, any kind of theft insurance. So you have to consider these things, So for us, it made more sense to go ahead and we are going to be getting pods, and then we're going to hire people to help us load them and unload them when we get there. So that is the direction that we're going. That way we can lock that. Those items are in there. We know what made it into the container. It's going to be a safer way of transporting. And then also the storage that we are going to need as well as for an option. So I just want you guys to be aware of those types of things that cannot go into pods. You cannot have liquids. You cannot have anything that is considered flammable. So you need to be thinking about, items like, even something like lamp oil. We all know about the basics like propane and gasoline and things like that can't make it into those containers, but you have to be thinking about caustic chemicals as well. So a lot of your household cleaners that you would normally use, you don't want to put anything with alcohol in it, so you can't bring rubbing alcohol, you can't bring Listerine, you can't bring things like toilet bowl cleaner. And I know most of us have prepped a lot of these items. We have quite a bit of this in our stock. So these are the kinds of things that you have to know about. You can't have anything that would create a spark or a fire, so you can't have matches. You also can't put things like fire extinguishers in there because of the pressure and what is in that can and the heat. If that pressure were to get emphasized from the heat and that were to explode in there, you can't have anything that is aerosolized, so no hairsprays, no dry shampoos, no kinds of air fresheners, anything like that that you would be used to, stocking up in your preps. Those items can't go with you. So there are other things as well. I'm probably leaving out a lot of them, but you have to use caution. Food items, you don't want to put anything in there that could draw pests. So you have to be careful that you are only packaging food items. So like something like sugar, if you just had it loose, you wouldn't want to put it in there. If you want to put that into Mylar and then put it inside of a Gamma Vault, you could go ahead and take that. But those Gamma Vaults are expensive. That's also going to add a lot of weight. So you need to be really thinking about, what items are going to draw pests, what items you can't bring with you because they could become, a flammable liability. Things like your lead acid batteries, you can't bring anything like that. So you've got to be thinking about that. And a lot of us have stocked up on batteries. Those are going to be, another expensive prep. Ammo, you can't put ammo in there. You can put your guns in there, but you actually have to talk to the company. They have to write down the serial numbers. There's a whole process. So I would advise against that. The other thing you're going to have to make sure you understand is what are the requirements for transporting something like that across state lines. Understand what those rules and regulations and laws are so that you're covering your booty when you go across those state lines. That's something that you have to think about. So for us, we're making sure we bring stuff like that in our vehicles. We do have 2 vehicles, so we are strategizing what we're keeping, what we're bringing with. So I did go through our furniture. That's another thing. I felt that our preps were more important as far as weight goes, things that I wanted to bring with us. Like I said, the freeze-dried food, the Keystone, all that kind of thing. And then of course, my freezers, I don't want to get rid of those. That's something that we are going to be bringing with us. But a lot of our furniture is 10 years old or older. So that is stuff that I am actually going to be selling and getting rid of. So as far as ways to get rid of and unload these items, I'm going to give you some ideas of what we did. So we actually went through our stuff. We had we did do a garage sale. So we got rid of a bunch of things that we wanted to offload that way. Anything that we had that were just, older household items, kids' toys, things like that, clothing, we went ahead and donated to a organization called Vietnam Veterans of America, and they will come directly to your home and pick those items up. It's easy. You just go online, schedule a pickup, tell them how many bags roughly that you have or boxes, and then they come and collect those items on that designated day. So that is something that you can do. There's a lot of organizations that will take stuff like that. Now you have to be aware that they will not take any large furniture items. They will not take certain electronics. There are just, items like that they won't take. Anything that is too heavy for one person to pick up, they won't bring. So you need to be thinking about that as well. The other thing you can do if you live in a community like I do, where we have a Facebook page for the community, you can reach out that way and try to sell things. That's one way that I've actually offloaded a lot of things like these household cleaners and bathroom products that I needed to get rid of. I just went ahead and marked them 50% off. And then I had a bunch of people, I put up photos, and then they would come to the door and they would hand me cash and take some of these items, because a lot of these things, when you're talking about stuff that's brand new in packaging that they can come and collect for 50% off, there's a lot of people that are going to be interested in that, even people that are not preppers that will want those items. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, obviously you've got, your food banks that you can give some of these items to, but if you've got anything that is, out of date that you're trying to move as well. This is why I talk about having connections with people, having groups established, things like that. That is one way that we were able to bless other people with items, and they were able to bless us in return by collecting those items. And we were just so grateful to have that group established of like-minded people that understand the value of these items, and they will, they wanted them. They were happy to take them, and we didn't have to worry about anything going into a landfill. So think about these things. There are reasons why you have connections with others that are like-minded. It is definitely a mutual benefit to both parties, and we need to be thinking about these kind of things. It's always wonderful to have people in your lives that understand the value of these types of items and goods and are willing to come grab those items for you and help you in that situation, and you in turn help them by helping them bulk up on, you know, things that they're looking for to prep as well. So that is what I would tell you guys to do first and foremost, is just kind of strategize, prioritize. What are you bringing? What can't you bring? What do you need to sell and what do you need to offload? And be thinking about that, because if you don't start focusing on that, it makes it really difficult to figure out what you're packing up to take with you. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, and I will give you guys some more tips in a future video. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And remember to pray, prep, and put God first. God bless.